Aging in the Middle Ages was feared long before death. It was not simply the passing of years, but the slow accumulation of vulnerability, weakness, and exposure. The body betrayed endurance, labor became more difficult, and every movement carried risk. To grow older meant to become more visible, more dependent, and more exposed to the pressures of life. Fear of aging was a fear of fragility, limitation, and the loss of control over survival. From early life, people observed the decline of those around them. Strength diminished, health faltered, and energy waned. Work that once required skill and stamina became increasingly arduous. Those who aged were at risk of falling behind, of being unable to sustain labor, protect themselves, or contribute to the community. Aging was measured in diminishing capacity, and this measurement shaped perception of time, effort, and value. Society reinforced this apprehension. Authority, labor, and hierarchy favored those who could endure. Productivity and obedience were tied to physical and mental capacity. To age was to risk marginalization, to attract less protection, and to become increasingly reliant on others. Dependency was dangerous in a world where survival was precarious. Aging exposed the body to scrutiny and the mind to anxiety, because weakness threatened not only the individual, but also their place within the social structure. Psychologically, people internalized the inevitability of decline. Anticipating their own weakening, they learned to fear the stages of life that would compromise autonomy. Youth and strength were measured against endurance, and the passing of years became a countdown toward vulnerability. The body was not merely a vessel, it was a record of potential risk, a barometer of survival capacity. Aging was also linked to visibility. Scarcity, disease, and exposure ensured that the older body was never private. Signs of frailty were observed, judged, and acted upon by others.
Social and economic consequences followed physical decline. Appearance and performance became signals of worth, and the inability to maintain them carried subtle, persistent penalties. Over time, this created a consciousness in which aging was experienced as a threat long before it reached extremes. The mind anticipated limitation, the body rehearsed endurance, and social life demanded constant adaptation. Fear of aging shaped choices, behaviors, and relationships, dictating how people worked, how they interacted, and how they managed their bodies. Life was measured not only by survival against immediate threats, but by the gradual awareness of decline. Aging was a psychological burden as much as a physical reality. The inevitability of weakness created tension, shaping the strategies people used to navigate a world that valued strength, resilience, and autonomy above all. As aging progressed, its effects extended beyond the body into the mind and social existence. Vulnerability accumulated quietly, shaping perception and action. Each ache, fatigue, or illness reminded individuals of their limits. Tasks that once required confidence and skill now demanded caution and calculation. The older body became a landscape of risk, requiring constant management to prevent injury, exposure, or failure. Socially, aging amplified dependence. Work, Protection and resources were increasingly mediated by others. In a world where survival was fragile, reliance on family, neighbors, or authority carried its own dangers. Trust had to be carefully measured. Those who could not contribute fully risked marginalization or neglect. Aging was thus not only a personal decline, but a social negotiation, with every sign of weakness observed, judged, and responded to. Psychologically, people internalized the pressures of anticipated decline. Fear of becoming burdensome, of losing status, of failing to protect oneself, shaped daily choices. Decisions were filtered through the lens of preservation rather than aspiration. Long-term goals became constrained by the physical and social realities of the body. Planning required awareness of limitation, and even small miscalculations could have amplified consequences. Culturally, the value placed on strength and endurance reinforced this fear. Norms, religion, and custom emphasized labor, obedience, and productivity. Those who aged without visible capability were subtly excluded from positions of influence, decision-making, or social authority. Aging was perceived as both natural and dangerous, a slow erosion that threatened autonomy, dignity, and survival. The normalization of fear around aging created a mindset of constant vigilance. People monitored their bodies, regulated activity, and internalized self-discipline. Pain, fatigue, and loss of skill were managed privately, because public exposure could lead to judgment or exclusion. The older individual became an expert in restraint, concealment, and adaptation, shaping behavior through necessity rather than choice. Over time, this shaped communities and hierarchies. The collective awareness of vulnerability structured relationships and work. Youth and strength were essential for visible roles, while experience and wisdom were secondary assets, recognized only when survival allowed attention to subtle qualities. Aging dictated who could act, who could decide, and who could rely on others. It influenced reputation, authority, and opportunity. Ultimately, fear of aging in the Middle Ages was a constant, shaping thought, behavior, and social order long before the end of life. It demanded internal regulation, careful observation, and strategic adaptation. The body was never fully private, the mind never free from calculation, and every year carried consequences for survival, autonomy, and place within the community. Aging was lived as a process of negotiation with the world, a test of endurance, and a persistent reminder of mortality that shaped every action and thought long before death arrived.